Batman! Sup, YouTube? This is Pop Tank. I'm Angelo.
And I'm Shay, and this is our Gotham Rewind episode for the Red Hood.
So on this episode, we were introduced to the Red Hood gang, and it started off with like a bank robbery, right?
Yeah, it was really cool too because it was almost like a classic Batman villain, like the guy with like the red hood, like, you know, he runs into the bank and he's like very like, see, like very like wisecracky, and he's like very similar to Robin Hood in a sense.
Yeah, he was very young, which is like cool.
That's cliche for this show.
Yeah,
everybody's young.
Everybody's young, so that was cool.
I think it was actually really dope for the Gotham universe to introduce the Red Hood the way they did.
Yeah.
Because we'd always known that it's been worn by many men, or if you follow the comics, it's been worn by many men. And the Joker was actually one of those people who wears it, and he had that on when in the book The Killing Joke, where Batman scares him and he jumps into like the vat of toxic waste, and he turns into the Joker and he's deranged and he has to try to kill the Batman now. He was wearing the Red Hood at the time. Beyond that, later on, one of the Robins, Jason Todd, finds the Red Hood and turns into a vigilante and takes over all the other gangs in Gotham because he feels that Batman's not doing it right by not killing people. So to see it start off in Gotham, the TV show, just jumpstarts that whole mythos of the DC universe.
Then we get introduced to Dr. Dahlmacher, right? And I really think that they wrote that. I don't know whoever the character is, but it really sounds like doll maker.
Which makes sense because they have been harvesting people's body parts. And for some reason, eyes seem to be a hot commodity. Like we need eyes. Like where is this conglomerate of people that are like, you know what? I need some more eyes today.
Europe.
There must be an eyeball shortage in Europe. The only thing that makes sense. Hey, but Fish gouges out her own eye. Destroying their e-commerce.
Creepy. It was really creepy.
You could tell that she meant business then. I mean, I wouldn't gouge out my own eye for shit. I would just let those people rot in the bowels of that building because I enjoy my eyes where they are currently. And she really, really wants to get back into power. Could you do that? Could you like take out an eye just to like...
No.
Make a point?
I don't think so. Like, this is the third option. That's not an option for me. No. Not an option. Never an option.
Never.
Both of my eyes.
Ever. An option. Then we also get to see a little bit of Alfred's past. We get to see his buddy Reggie show up at Wayne Manor just out of the blue in the rain. Like a bad 90s emo video. He's just like covered in rain. He's like, I have nowhere else to go. My wife left me. But then turns out that he was a spy for Wayne Enterprises. I
thought that it was really cool that Alfred's old friend from the war was introduced. It showed that Alfred had a really, really thick backstory, you know? His friend like called him like a war dog, but right now he's kind of like a house dog. No disrespect to Alfred or anything. I love Alfred. I love Alfred, but he shows how different he has changed.
You can be a little whipped being a butler since it's your job.
Yeah, and did you see like Reggie really trying to push his limits when he was like trying to have him box and like was teaching him all these things, and it kind of shows how Bruce Wayne starts to get a little bit more Batman.
Yeah. He also says something that I caught. He says, don't lose your cool when fighting.
And he never does, like when he's Batman. He like never does.
Yeah, it's really rare that it happens. I can see how Reggie's personality rubbed off on Bruce a little bit in that short stint that they saw each other. I'm not saying that Reggie even exists inside of the comic book world, but inside of the Gotham TV universe, I can see how it could be turned into part of his character.
And then also, like, later on in the episode, we got back to Penguin's new club, and he runs out of alcohol.
That would cause a riot. Like, just straight up. If a club ran out of alcohol, come on. I would, like, flip all the tables over. Nah, I'll probably actually just leave. But did you notice that, Butch was drinking all the time? And I really, really think that, since how Victor Zsasz, he said that he controlled him
and Butch is like really obedient, like a dog or like anything that's very obedient. But every time he's like drinking something and his hand's shaking, right? So I think the alcohol might be taking him, might be giving him control of himself again.
For a second, I didn't even think that he was actually brainwashed. I still don't really think that he is, because he does have like a mark on his head where they may have done some sort of surgery on him, but he's got to be up to something. He was too gung-ho for Fish Mooney to not be like planted there on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, like, did you see how he was just like they were trying to rob the alcohol from Maroney, and then Butch is just like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
And it was just like
Happens to have police in his back pocket.
Yeah, like, how can you be brainwashed but then like have that willpower to just do what you need to do? I really think that the alcohol is helping him.
I would like to see, well, this is going to be the turning point, but I would really like to see Oswald's, the Penguins Club. I would really like to see that start to flourish, because that's always been a huge thing in the Batman universe, is that his club is, it's the Penguins Club, it's like this huge thing. So it had to start somewhere, and it's failing right now. So this is amazing to me,
And lastly in the episode, sadly, we have to see young Alfred getting stabbed. And it's the saddest moment ever for that episode. And I just felt just a bit, I felt so emotional.
I thought that they would maybe fight, or Reggie would just like take the money, because at the time you don't really know that he's working for Wayne Enterprises.
Right.
But I wasn't expecting him to get prison shanked inside of like the reading room in Wayne Manor,
Yeah, but I think I kind of had this idea that like maybe this is how Alfred becomes a little bit more subtle and quiet
from being stabbed in the lung.
Yeah, just like, and that's why how he becomes like the other Alfreds that we see, that we all know from like the cartoons or anything like that. He's just very calm, and he's just like, "Yes, Master Bruce. Yes, Master Bruce."
All right, guys, thanks for tuning into another episode of Gotham Rewind. We'll be back again next week with the next episode, whatever it may be entitled. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Bye.
Boss!